September 17, 1984. 8-year-old Vicki Hoskinson would take a letter to the mailbox for the letter carrier to pick up. Vicki's mother would call the police to report her missing, but she would never be seen alive again. It would take police 10 days to find and arrest the suspect in the kidnapping, but the body of Vicki Hoskinson would not be found until nearly 7 months later.
On this episode of Chasing Killers, we'll be exploring the life and death of child murderer Frank Atwood. Let's get into it.
Frank Jarvis Atwood was born on December 9, 1956, in the affluent Brentwood neighborhood in Los Angeles, California. It appears Frank's childhood was, at first, uneventful, with present and attentive parents. His father was a general in the U.S. Army. His life would change when he was 14 years old. Frank would be kidnapped and abused, setting the course for his life. He would go from the abused to the abuser, as is unfortunately the case with some victims of childhood abuse. Atwood would be accused in 1974 of lewd and lascivious conduct with a child under 14 and was labeled a mentally disabled sex offender. Instead of prison, Atwood would be sent to a mental health facility to receive treatment for his deviance, but it wasn't effective in stopping his proclivity for children. In 1981, he would be convicted of kidnapping an 8-year-old boy. He would be sentenced to 5 years in the California prison system, but would only serve 3 before being paroled in May 1984, not too long before this crime. At some point, Atwood would make his way to Arizona, likely to start over in a new state where his past crimes might not be so easily uncovered. It was also reported that Atwood was living a life of vagrancy. Following Vicki's disappearance, it didn't take long for the Pima County Sheriff's Office to start their investigation. At the time, it would be the largest search in the history of Pima County. Numerous people were investigated, and of course, some leads didn't go anywhere. The first tip that proved to be credible was from a coach at the local elementary school who said he saw a suspicious vehicle near the school. He memorized the license plate and wrote it down in case something came of it, which unfortunately it did. He provided it to the police, and it came back to Atwood. Let's be honest, Atwood was the perfect suspect with his prior criminal history and current parole status. The car would be registered to his parents' home address. They would assist the FBI in locating Atwood in Texas, where he was taken into custody. Atwood denied killing Vicki, but admitted to being in the area. 2 witnesses, both homeless men, would say that Atwood had blood on his clothes, that he claimed was from a drug dealer he killed. The only physical evidence in the case came from Atwood's car. There was a paint scuff on his bumper that matched the same color as Vicki's bike. Some of the gravel found in the car also matched the gravel in one of the bike pedals. Atwood would be arrested 10 days after the disappearance, but Vicki still had not been found, dead or alive. The case would move slowly from here. On December 3rd, 1984, he would be formally charged with kidnapping. Prior to the start of the trial, Vicki's body would be found on April 12, 1985, in the Sonoran Desert by a hiker, January 18, 1987. The trial of Frank Atwood would commence, and included a murder charge. The trial would take over 2 months, and on March 26, 1987, he would be found guilty. After a further 2 months, on May 19, 1987, he would receive the harshest sentence possible, the death penalty. He would be sent to death row at Arizona State Prison Complex, Florence.
If you enjoy my death row profiles, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new content.
Atwood would appeal and claim that police planted the evidence on his bumper. Regarding the claim, Vicki's mother would say, "Oh, give me a break." Years after the conviction, she would comment, "I'm pretty disgusted by the fact that he's still on death row. It's so sad it would take so long to execute someone when they commit a crime in the blink of an eye." All his appeals would be exhausted. May 3rd, 2022 would be his last day on Earth. For his last meal, he would eat salami, mustard, peanut butter, jelly, bread, a bag of chips, and water. Per Arizona law, Atwood had the choice of the gas chamber or lethal injection. He would not decide, so the state would do it for him. He would walk into the death chamber, and the state would carry out the sentence, lethal injection. Part of this final statement of Frank Atwood would read, "I want to thank my friends and legal team, and most of all, Jesus Christ. Through this unfair judicial process that led to my salvation, I pray the Lord will have mercy on all of us, and that the Lord will have mercy on me. There would be no apology, and he would be pronounced dead at 10:16 a.m.
This was another Chasing Killers profile. Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts on the case. As always, see you next time.